Hello. Hello, everyone. Hi. Okay. See. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Hi. How you doing? How's your Saturday going? Thank you for joining. Hello. Hello. Hi. Let me invite. Yeah. Hi. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Really appreciate your time. Hope your day is going on well. Hello, everyone. Hello, Neola. Hello, JX. Hi. Hello, Nazuk. Hi. Nice to meet
Hey,
you.
you. Let me.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning. How's your day going? How's your day been? Yeah.
Yeah, I just it's so morning here in California, so it's like
Oh,
11 a.m.
okay,
So
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's afternoon for us already. So, I mean, we've gone through like most of the day. But hello, everyone. Hello, Rahul. Hi. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you all. I appreciate your time in joining this. The title is Becoming a Product Manager, and Nazuk is going to share from her wealth of experience, a decade in product management. That's really amazing. My name is Ayo, and I share interview and career tips and also responses to interview questions because I know people usually get kind of agitated when it comes to behavioral questions. So I try to give as much responses as I can, and we'll jump right into it. So handing over to Nazuk, just for an introduction, your name, what you do. I mean, general introduction, yes. And sorry, before you start, if you have any questions, there's a question button at the bottom right hand, at the bottom corner. You can put your questions there so that we don't miss it and it doesn't get lost in between the messages. So if you're here and you're an aspiring product manager or you just want to learn more, can you drop like any emoji? It can be a smiling emoji or heart emoji. I like the dancing one, so I think I'll start with the dancing emoji. Then I will finally hand over to Nazuk. Over to you. Yeah, sorry.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. I think what you're doing with sharing your career tips, I think you have a great page and people should absolutely follow you.
Thank you.
In terms of what I do, my name's Nazuk, and I am based here in California. And I am currently head of product in a fintech company. But I've been working in product for almost a decade now. I have had the opportunity to work for very, very large companies like JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Kaiser, and also have had the opportunity to work for startups, something 70 people ish company, and that's a very different kind of um, that's why I say there's several flavors of product management, and so that's where the type of company, the different types of companies kind of play a role in that. Also, I have worked on, I would say, B2B products, also B2C, but mainly in B2B products.
Okay.
And last 2 years, I would say, yeah, actually, this month is our anniversary for Product Career. Now that I think about it,
Oh,
uh,
wow.
I started Product Career sharing content in product management. I share on LinkedIn. I share on video-based content on Instagram and TikTok, and then on LinkedIn, I share also like written content. But it's all about product management, and yeah, so that's what I do.
Yeah, so I see someone put a question in the comments. Please, can you add it to the question box at the bottom right corner so that it doesn't get lost um it doesn't get lost in the conversation. So okay, I think my first question is how you got into product management. Like how did you start your career? Yes.
Yeah, so this is where I'm gonna, this is one of the very common ways. The way I got in is one of the very common ways to get into product management. I was part of product team. I started my career as a business analyst. So if you
Mm.
think about it, so business analyst is a role that is closest to the product.
Yes, yes.
it's part of product team sometimes, or it's the closest. You get to work very closely with the product managers. So that's how kind of I got started. I was a business analyst when I started, and it was a very natural progression for me to go into a product role. And I, starting out business analyst, and then I moved into product in JP Morgan. So that's kind of, it wasn't like in today's world, we have these APM programs. I think in the last 3 or 4 years, all of the companies have started APM, associate product manager, like rotation programs.
Mhm.
We didn't have that. It sounds a little archaic. 10 years ago, we didn't have those. So
Okay. Can you hear me?
yep, I
Okay.
can.
All right. Okay. So I wanted to ask also, like, so the transition is from business analyst to product management. Yes, I know. I mean, you guys work closely together, a BA and a product. So did you go to like product owner before you went to product management, or did you, I mean, transition from BA to product management? I mean,
So this is very actually dependent on the type of the company and their product management structure. I have held a product owner title in my career,
mhm.
but my transition was from BA to a product manager. Just that because at the time JP Morgan didn't have product owner roles. It was
Oh,
just a product manager who was doing a product owner job, like being with the team, like in a scrum setting,
yes,
but
yes,
they just didn't at the time. I have held the product owner title, but I think from title perspective, it's very dependent on kind of the type of company, the kind of type, product you work for and things like that. Ultimately, if companies have agile or scrum kind of
yeah,
practice, then they'll have a product owner title.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So what's the difference between a product owner and a product manager? Yeah.
Yes, that's a great question. I get this question so many times. And so to me, the key difference, my opinion, is they should really be one.
Oh, really?
They should really be one. And I'll tell you why. And I like the product owner title better, but we keep that aside, title, whatever, manager or an owner. The difference in at least what I have seen throughout my career with the companies that practice agile scrum, they
Yeah,
practice
yeah,
scrum. Product owner really role comes from agile, and product owner will be very, hands-on into delivery. When you
mhm,
think about it, it kind of the life cycle, you have a kind of a feature idea, right? Oh, this would be great for our customers. A product manager will sit and, probably, maybe work with the customers. If you have access to the customers, they'll probably work with the customers, kind of do the discovery sessions, or they'll work with the stakeholders.
yeah,
Um, and so a little bit like upstream work into discovery, all things, does it make sense from, what's the opportunity cost of this idea, right?
sure.
Or you know what's the profit and loss, right? Does it make sense, right? Does this feature make sense? There'll be a lot more upstream and kind of doing all of those things on the strategy perspective. And then the product owner will then take that idea once it's solid. Yes, we're going to go build it. Product owner is responsible for actually going and delivering it. So that's the key difference. Even in the roles that I have held, that's kind of what my responsibilities have been as well.
Okay, so why do you say like the product manager and the product owner should be one? Why do you have that? Because I know in many companies that, I mean, they're different people. The product owner works closely with the Scrum team. I mean, the product owner is part of the Scrum team, but the product owner kind of reports to the product manager. That's how we, I mean, that's the hierarchy in my company. So why do you think they should be the same? I would love to, I know that's an
Yeah,
interesting question. I'd like to get.
yeah. The reason for that is if you, in my experience, if the company is large, right, it's not a mid-sized to large companies will split out the role just to keep a very clear kind of
Okay.
responsibilities and they try to keep it clear, but there's always overlap, right? It's
True.
always not very clear, right? Who's doing
Yes,
what? In my
exactly.
experience, I think it is better for it to be one role, somebody who is end to end responsible. This means that product owner, if the product owner is only working on the delivery, they sometimes get cut out from actually hearing directly from the customer or from the stakeholder
Yeah.
what the real problem, right, that they're solving. But if they're
Yes.
part of that whole cycle end to end, that means they get to understand, listen the problem firsthand, work
True.
with stakeholders, and then translate into delivering the product or the feature, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so not to cut out, having the full end-to-end view, I think is very, there's a lot of value in that over time, right?
Okay.
Over time, you start to build this subject matter expertise, right? You become an SME in
Yeah.
that. So I think for those reason, I think along with others, right? But on at on a high level, this is kind of why I think it really should be a one role.
Okay, okay. So I know the question I want to ask is like a commonly asked question, like how do I get into product management? I have no technical skills. I don't plan to do any coding. How do I get into product management? How do I become a product manager? Yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, the biggest myth is that you need coding to be a product manager. Right. And I posted a reel on my page, just one of the recent reels, where I talk about coding is not a must have. You have to take the coding out of the picture for product managers.
Mhm.
Product managers are there to really help articulate, be the liaison between the customer and your technical team. You're the liaison. You're responsible for understanding really the pain points of the customer from the business sense, right? From your product vision and product strategy perspective, and
Mhm.
then translate it for your engineers so they can go build it. So when you're translating, you're not building it. You're
Yeah.
defining, you're kind of bringing the two worlds, the very business oriented world, right?
Mhm.
Imagine being, having a stakeholder from finance. Let's say you work in a
Yeah.
finance company and your stakeholder is very number savvy, right? They're a finance person. They don't talk technical language. They don't understand how this is built. I'm giving an example, right? And your technical person may not be a very number savvy person, right? They
Yeah.
understand the finance world. It's a product manager's job to bring the both worlds together, really understand the pain point on finance side, and then translate it for engineers to go build. So this is first part of your question, right? You don't really need a coding language. You
Yeah.
need to be able to speak the language.
Mm.
Uh, and I would argue it's equally important to speak business language. Then it is equally, kind of equally important to speak technical language. So how do you break into product management? Your second
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. Mhm.
Uh, so there are, I want to say, roughly three or four different ways. The first one is being part of a company where they have an established product organization. Start with that first, right?
Okay.
And when you start out, when the company already has a product organization, you're going to have opportunities. First of all, they understand the product role. So that's start there.
Yeah.
Then being part of, like you could transition into um first things first, right? You look within your company for a product role. If you
Okay.
have product management role in your company, you could reach out to the team, have a conversation with your manager as well, that this is kind of your aspiration, right? You want to move in and take on some stretch assignments, shadow your PM, kind of do additional kind of stretch assignments, help them out and
Okay.
learn the way. This is one of the best ways to shadow a PM in your company and
Yeah.
learn that. So that's the number one way. Easiest, I would say. You keep your current job, you move within your company. It might take a year, 6 months, 2 years, I don't know, depending on, how your company is kind of how they kind of value the transitions and things like that. But this is one of the ways. Second way is you could for junior folks, there are APM programs, Associate Product Manager rotation programs. Several companies are now starting out rotation programs, and that is one of the good ways. Facebook has it, Spotify.
Is it free?
Yeah.
Oh wow, nice, nice. Okay.
Yeah, I believe Google has it, but several companies are coming out with it. Workday has it. I have some resource on my profile as well on this. Like I'm forgetting the name of other companies, but
Okay.
there are several. And I'm speaking in context to like within US, this is what kind of I've seen, right?
Yeah.
So if you're outside US, kind of see what companies are if they are offering. Another way, another great way to do it is build a product. When
All
I
right.
build a product, I'm going to specifically say go build an app. There are other products you can build. You can, build a newsletter, you can build a community, but all of those may not get you the results, like direct results right away. This is kind of my opinion. I know people out there kind of also talk about building newsletter or community. I've personally seen those might take you longer to get the results. But if you kind of keep your focus, go build an app, find an idea that you think, there might be a problem, do the competitor analysis, what other people are doing and how you would solve it. Go through give yourself kind of 90 days, build and launch it, get feedback. I think that alone can give you so much experience, and it kind of becomes um, a talking point in the interview. I'll give you a real quick example. I interviewed someone recently, and this person she comes from a software engineer background, and she's built a game, right? She built a game that was her side project. And it was so interesting to me, the experience of building something that translated directly into being a product manager, though she didn't have like a direct product manager experience, but she ended up, talking so much about it. It became such a talking point for her and
Oh, wow.
for me and like other interviewers. Like, we want to know more. How did you do this? And it is a great way to break into product management. So
All right.
those are some of the ways.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So when you talk about building a product, so imagine just something on the side, right? Maybe I'm trying to transition to product manager. I'm building something on the side, getting feedback from people, maybe people around me that are using it. Okay. That seems like an interesting, interesting idea. Are there like, oh, I know you've had over a decade in product management. What are the lessons you have learned along the way? Like, what would you say you will have done differently, or maybe another role that's even more interesting than this? Just what have you learned? And hello, if you just joined, thank you so much for joining. If you have any questions, and in a few minutes we'll be going through the questions. Put your questions in the question box at the bottom right corner. So back to my question. Yeah. So
Yeah.
just lessons you have learned along the way. Yeah.
So I would say, first question, is there something I would have done differently?
Yeah.
Yes. And the answer to that, what would I have done differently, is I would have rather, if I knew the value startups can bring, I would have worked for startups more in the beginning of my career. I used to say that go work for a large company. Sometimes they have the resources to, invest in you, teach you product management, whatever. But I've also seen working in startups, it may not be for everybody. And as an immigrant, I understand sometimes, working in US, there can be visa issues or whatever,
That.
and keeping all of those factors aside, right?
Yeah.
If I had the opportunity, I would have worked more for startups. The one core reason for that is you get to learn so much end to end for product management
Mhm.
that you don't get to learn in large companies. In large companies, you're building one tiny feature, one
Okay.
tiny thing, but sure, it will impact, millions, or it's a very large project, whatever.
Yeah.
But in a smaller company, you get to work on end-to-end aspects. You learn so much about the whole company's operation that in large companies, there's no way you can get
Yeah.
that of exposure. So
Yeah.
that's the thing I would have changed, if I could. My lessons, I would say, over and over, I have seen that we sometimes think, oh, maybe technical knowledge is important, or if or my design knowledge is important, or I need to learn about this domain. Yes, you need to do all of that, but the number one thing that I have seen really, really great product managers over my career do, and also is one single thing that will help you step up in your career, is
Okay.
great communication.
Oh wow. Okay.
It is the number one thing that is going to help you level up, step up in your career, get on to the next level. And it doesn't matter you work for a large company, doesn't matter you work for a startup, if you cannot communicate, right? So communication is, there's many things. So let me unfold that
Yeah.
slightly, right?
I'm curious.
Yeah. So from communication perspective, you work with your stakeholders, right? You
Yeah.
have to clearly articulate the problem, right? That is being solved, and also bring your, kind of, so you have to clearly articulate the problem to the engineering team. So that's one, right? That's
Okay.
kind of being the liaison, which I mentioned previously.
Uh-huh.
Then you have to also communicate back to your customers and stakeholders kind of what's being built, what is not being built. You have to do conflict management. Sometimes, there's going to be conflicting priorities.
Mhm.
uh, your own manager, sometimes people end up doing so much work, but I have seen, and even I was there, not good at, and even now I think I'm still kind of improving, is
Okay.
sometimes you're not able to show all the work that you've done, like within a week or within the month, like all the things. Sometimes your managers don't have insight into what you're doing. Like they may know at a high level, but they may not know on the low level. And
Yeah.
people are not kind of they're not able to kind of do the end-to-end kind of what they worked on, whatever. So every single place, product management is a very people job.
Yeah.
And you will work a lot with people. So at the end of the day, when you're working with people, communication becomes a very critical skill, right?
Mhm.
Being able to articulate your ideas, being able to kind of sell, right? You have to kind of sell stakeholders on your idea, why they should build something, why something is worth building, things like that. So overall, I would say, if for anyone starting out, anyone in their early careers, or early years, or even anyone in product management, if this is an area that you think you may be good, not good, keep working on your communication skills. They will take you far.
Oh, yeah, that's good. I mean, I think it's even in any role as you start to progress. I think communication and clearly articulating your vision is very important. It seems so easy, but honestly, now that you say it, I mean, I'm really resonating with it. It's starting to, yes, sometimes you feel like you're saying something, but the people on the other end are saying something else. I'm like, don't you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've been in that situation. I can't hear you. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So I think let's, because there are a lot of questions, but I think we should start answering them. How the first one is, how do I showcase my leaders that I'm ready for the next level, or manager or director?
That's a good question. So imagine, and I'll ask it with a question, right? Imagine you're a, let's say you're a marketing person, right? And you want to break into product management. how would you convince the interviewer that you can do the job?
Okay.
The same mindset. If you're a junior product manager, you want to go into like a lead product manager role, you have to be able to show that you already can do that job. Even if you don't have those kind of responsibilities just yet, you have to find out first from your first from your, your manager, whatever. Ask them, what does a lead product manager do? What does that role look like? And see what of those responsibilities you can already start taking in. Anytime you need a promotion or you want to go into the next level, you have to be able to showcase that you can already do the job.
Yeah, that's
whole mindset thing. Rest everything, I think, is kind of tactics. You go reach out, learn about the job, do the things, incorporate that in your regular job, get better at communication, get better at explaining, why they should to that next level, right? So that would be my tip.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Can I switch from software development to product management?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There is, oh yeah, because you have to understand product management has so many different flavors. When I say flavors, it's like different types of domains, different type of product. A product management in Apple is very different than product management, let's say, in JP Morgan, right? It's a tech company and that's a finance company. Tech, banking world. So domains are different. Large company versus small company, right? Then your product management, it's going to be at the core of it, it's same, but it varies on a day-to-day basis. So when you come from software engineering background, the one really great skill you bring that can set you
Yeah,
apart from the candidates is your technical knowledge.
exactly.
Required, but it's a very nice to have that, some employers will really, appreciate that skill. If
Yeah.
they have a technical product, they're like, okay, this person comes from a technical background, they want to talk to you. So
Yes, yes. And like you said, like the product manager being the liaison between the technical side and then the business side. So if you can already communicate to the technical people, I think it just makes your job like way easier. So that's, I mean, you can definitely transition from software management to product management. The next question is, what are your go-to online resources on product management?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? What are the
What are your, you should also be able to see on your screen, what are your go-to online resources on product management?
um so definitely I would say product school has many. I would say it's one of the, they have put out several free resources. Then there's another one, PM School. They have another really good resources as well on their website. They have kind of free, guides and things like that. Other one, I would say Medium. If you guys read, if you're a reader, go to Medium and you'll find a bunch of great blogs. If you just type resources. YouTube has a lot of great videos these days. There wasn't, but I think in the last year or two after the pandemic, product kind of content has popped up on YouTube as well. And other than that, product career. So my
Yeah.
own page has a lot of videos too. So go check them out.
Okay. So are these like websites like the product school, product career, PM school, are they just websites that you can go to? Okay.
Yep. School.com and pmschool.com. I think if you type them, you'll find.
Okay. Okay. All right then. Someone's asking you when you're planning to launch your own PM course.
I actually already launched it. Go check out. It should, you can go to my profile and follow the link, or you can go to productcareer.io.
Okay.
Productcareer.io, and you'll find all the information there. But, or send me a DM if you don't. So,
Okay. Yeah, so thanks to everyone that just joined. We're on the question and answers section now. You can put your question in the bottom right corner. Moving to the next question. What's the difference between product management and project management? I was going to ask you this too, so I think it's, yeah.
Yeah. So on a high level
Okay.
and simple way, simply is product managers own the product, the features, and project managers own the delivery and the timeline.
Hmm.
Product managers own what is going to be built, what features are going to solve a customer's problem, what products or features, and project manager is simply responsible for delivering those project and feature, like all those features and products. They will be um, they will be the liaison between all the different teams and follow up and um, make sure that the timeline doesn't fall through cracks, right? They will be responsible. Project managers are responsible for identifying risks, calling out how to mitigate the risk, right? If they see a big project, certain if you have a resource constraint, suddenly 5 people left in a team, for example, right?
Yeah.
Project is responsible for making sure from resources perspective, from making sure the delivery of the work is progressing the way it should. So that's kind of the
All right. Thank you. Uh, Let me see. I think this one says which country is best to do project management course. I don't think is it country specific, but I'll let you. I mean, and
Yeah, I don't think it's country specific. I would, so here's a slight distinction. I would say I am here in California and Silicon Valley specifically, right? I am, the way I have learned, product management is slightly different here in Silicon Valley than the other parts, even in US I have seen. I would say instead of going for what country is better, where do I go get the course? I would say understand the product practice in your country first, how it is done, understand the role that is in your country. It might be one of the flavors, again, right? I say
yeah,
flavor product management, it might be a flavor. So I think it is best to do it within your own country. If you understand, sure, you can learn from other parts of the world, wherever there's a beauty of internet, right? You can learn,
sure.
you can one part of the world and learn from the rest. Learning is great, but I would highly encourage you to understand the product practice within your own country first, your area, your country, whatever. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Um, do we need an MBA or master's degree to break into product management?
Uh, Not necessarily, I would say. At least that's what I have seen here in the US. When I started out, I had my undergrad degree and then I worked full time and I did my master's degree on part-time basis, like on the weekends and
Okay.
even. So I do have a master's degree, but I it is not critical to have an MBA or master's. I think as long as you can showcase that you can do the job of a product manager. And so this is where go build a product, go build an app. This is why I talk so much about that, is that's going to give you the experience that's equivalent of an MBA.
Okay. Okay.
So,
So
not, yeah.
yeah, so when you say go build a project, go build an app, are there some examples? I mean, or I don't know, maybe someone's YouTube page has done something like that that people can, get more understanding. Like, what do you mean? Well, I'm not a software engineer. I don't know how to code. How will I build a product? I mean, how will I get customer feedback? Something like, is there any like example people can go and.
Right. That's a great question you asked, because when we say build an app, people think of building like a startup.
Yeah.
And very intimidating, right? Okay, so to break that down, some battery
Okay. All right.
was um when I say build an app, if you can build and launch in the Play Store or kind of market it, great. But it doesn't have to be that. Think about it this way. let's say, for example, I'll give you a, just a very quick example. We work in a, we work with global teams a lot, right? In corporate, now after pandemic, people are in different time zones, right? And sometimes when you're booking a meeting on your calendar, this is just one of the ideas I'm sharing.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you're booking a meeting on your calendar,
Maybe I'm going to take this idea. So I'm listening.
when you're booking a meeting with your, teammates who are in different parts of, like, US has 4 different time zones.
Exactly.
Outside US, of course, there's a whole bunch of different time, whole world, right? When you're booking a meeting with your somebody who's in a different time zone on the calendar, I really want to know what's their time, right?
Yeah.
I know what is their time going to be.
Okay.
So you can build an app that would solve the problem, right? If you a certain time, or you maybe you enter a certain parameter, like whatever. So
Yeah.
it will, like, if you say, oh, I want a meeting with somebody in UK, so UK and US and your current time zone, it automatically detects your current time zone and tells you what time is in UK.
That's a,
Just so you're mindful of their time. There
yeah.
are widgets already available. I think Outlook also has started to, there's a widget already for that. There are some widgets available. But just to give you an idea, pick a small idea. Another example would be like somebody who goes into a new city, wants to find similar interest people, right? For example, let's say I'm new in the city here and I want to find a tennis buddy, right? I want to play. I don't have any friends in the new city. I want to go find some tennis buddies that I can play tennis with.
Mhm.
Can an app give you that? So think of simple ideas that you can test out with maybe 10 or 20 people.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a full-blown app. You can build it through wireframes. You can simply do some designs and mock-ups, kind
Okay.
of in your idea like that. You can build it through no-code tools if you want to do that, if you want to learn. There
Mhm.
are great no-code tools available out
Okay.
in the, like Bubble, Airtable, Notion. All of these tools allow you to kind of do that. So you don't have to go build and ultimately launch and make it a startup. Sure, it can be,
Mhm.
but start with an idea, do some mock-ups, wireframes, go to 10, 20 people, get the feedback,
Cool.
revise, and then if you want to launch it, go launch it, right, into the market and get a feedback.
Yeah.
That's kind of iterative steps.
Oh, yeah. I
Okay.
think yeah, I think this is really good because you can use that kind of idea even in your interview. Like this is what I did. It doesn't have to be 100 or 1,000 people. It can be 10 or 20, like you said.
Yes,
Get feedback from them. That's really, really good. Yeah.
yes.
Thank you a lot. Yeah. Uh, moving to the next one. Let me see the ones I've answered. How do I transition from being a functional analyst to a product manager or leader or director jobs? Yeah.
So I would say, first of all, if you want to switch to product management, start with your own company.
Mm.
Start with finding if there's role, which is kind of what I said previous in this as well. I think I covered some of that question already.
Yeah.
Start with your own company first. Find a role within your company, and then talk to your manager. Kind of show your aspirations that you eventually want to, and then if they allow you, you can shadow your PM, your product manager in the company. That way you get to learn firsthand from them. You do some additional
Stretch goals, yeah?
stretch assignments, yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. The other one says, what skills to pick up and how to be a leader in business or product setting? Yeah.
So I would say communication, number one. That's always going to be my number one. Make sure your communication, you're able to articulate your ideas well. Second is critical thinking. I think that's also very, very important, especially in the tech world. If you want to work in tech companies, um, and to be a leader, to step into a new, like a leadership role, critical
Yeah.
thinking is very important. you to be able to critically think about a problem, like thinking all different areas of that problem. Another one is what I have observed leaders do
Mm-hmm.
is they will ask questions like unapologetically, right? They get really good in asking really great questions. So if you can build your skill of asking questions
Mm-hmm.
and good, like deeper questions, like end to end, you've thought through things, I think those really help you in the long run.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thanks to everybody that just joined. Thank you for staying till now. Please just drop an emoji, smiling emoji, a dancing one is usually my favorite. And I was still answering the questions. And the next one says, I'm paid now for tech. I would like opportunities in business work, but they see me as only tech. So probably the person is in technical role and they're trying to move to like the business side, but it's kind of hard for them to transition. Yeah, I think that's what I understand from this.
Um, so this is where the part, like if you're in the technical role, then if I understand the correct question correctly, if they're in the technical role and they're just being seen as a technical person,
Yeah.
then you have to be able to learn to speak the business language. That is critical, right? So I will give you one key point there. If you're on the technical side, your mindset is very solution oriented. You
Mm.
think of the problem and immediately you want to solve the problem. And your mind goes, how do I solve the problem? Engineers, they're very smart people. Their mind, when you tell them a problem, they're already thinking about a solution.
Uh-huh.
Right? On the other hand, product managers think about a lot of end-to-end aspect. Why do something? Right? Why do it, and why do it now? Do we really need this feature now? So you go from and why and the what. That's kind of the product manager hat, right? That's kind of their space. That's the question. That's the area. That's what you should be thinking if
Yeah.
you move to product management. So go from solution oriented thinking to product thinking, which is really around the why and the what of the problem.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So the next one says, how do you, I mean, how, please can you explain the difference between strategy and roadmap?
um
Is it
Strategy is simply what you see, what you want to do with your product or feature.
okay?
Simple, on a very simple terms, let's say, to give you an example, let's say if I am building out content on my page, I'll give you a certain example, right? If on product career, if I am building out, okay, what type of content do I want to bring on this page? What will help my followers, my whole community? What will help them? When you start thinking about the what and the why, that's
Yeah.
kind of strategy. When I sit down and I write 10 pieces of content, or I record 10 videos and I put it on a timeline, that
Okay.
kind of becomes a roadmap. Like, okay, week 1 this is going to be delivered, week 2 this is going to be delivered. That kind of becomes a roadmap.
As in, I'm taking so many notes, I'm learning a lot here. Thank you. Thank you. There are just so many questions. The next one
Yeah,
is,
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to like maybe drop in like another 5 minutes.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah, that's fine. Let's see which ones we can. There's so many. Okay. The other one says, go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, go ahead.
As a PM, how would you ensure your team can improve their skills and capabilities? Is this a PM? Okay, is this a PM's role? Maybe she means project management.
Yeah, so it's not really like, unless the person is asking, like, if you're already a PM leader, how do
Okay.
you build your product managers? That's a more leadership question, and I would say, you so from leadership perspective, if you're I'm not sure if they're talking about like the Scrum team or like PM team.
Yeah.
Because that's two different kind of.
Yeah, whoever asked that question, you need to drop more details. Sorry, we have to move on from that. Um, let's see. So, what are the best news? Which are the best newsletters to follow for product managers?
So I would say there, go to Substack, substack.com, and Substack is the hub for all the best newsletters. Now, the newsletters, it's hard for me to say the best one, and the reason for that is every product manager is at a different stage in their career, and all the newsletters that are out there, they target different purpose. Some are focused on building, like, they're very deep, they're more for leaders, right? So if
Yeah.
you're a leader already, then a product manager or senior product manager, you'll have a different one. If you're a junior person, there are other ones. So it's there. So it's hard for me to say best, because best is very subjective. Like, if you're a junior product manager, you probably don't care about the senior, like, leadership level newsletters at this point, right? You want to do best in your job in the next 2 or 5 years. So go to substack.com, and there you'll find, search for product management. There you'll find some of the top ones already, so you can subscribe from there.
Okay.
We have a newsletter, Product Careers. Like, I have a newsletter, so subscribe to that. It's
Yeah.
mostly for mid-career,
Yeah.
mid-career product managers. So subscribe to that.
Yeah. Someone's asking, first of all, do you need to know Agile and Scrum? I mean, the whole Scrum methodology to become a product manager? I can't hear you.
Know it?
Yes, like, do you need to, I mean, probably go and take a Scrum certification or learn about Agile to become a product manager or to
Yes.
help you? Yeah. Mhm.
Yes, it's absolutely helpful. Let me plug my phone in because it might die. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
Sorry about that. Okay. So yes, it is important. I would say it's absolutely, it helps a lot to know Agile, but it's not like you absolutely must know. It's more like, and it's not very difficult to know. Like, you can take a couple days of course, and you can learn an Agile Scrum methodology. So it helps, I would say. One of the questions I saw somebody posted was Substack question mark. Yes, that is the one, Substack. If you go to substack.com, you'll find a bunch of newsletters.
Okay. So the person that asked the question, I think she, as a new product manager in a role, how do you improve your team skills, capabilities?
So I think she's talking about more of a Scrum team, I would say, right? So my one thing that has allowed me, this is something, there's many kind of underlying things to team building, but one thing that has helped me is understand where your team is getting blocked, where they need help. If you can, as a new product manager, help your team get unblocked, if you can help them really remove those blockers so they can go build, I think that really helps with improving, what they are building. Like, they can actually do their job. Because what happens is, there's just always so much to do, and your team will get bogged down into, whether writing requirements or process diagrams or reaching out to people or whatever, right? Getting some of the questions answered. So as a product manager, if you can help unblock your team, I think it really is beneficial.
So is PMP still a good certification to have? What's the best certification to go, I mean, for product management?
PMP is a project management certification. It is not for product managers. If you want to go for a certification, you should find something for product managers.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know if we're going to be able to take all the questions. So two questions are saying, someone asked about how they can transition from being a product analyst to a product manager.
I think we already covered this in the live here, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, it's
Then
a similar one. Yeah.
okay. Then can you become a PM with only high school diploma and a boot camp?
Um, I think you can, but I would say through the boot camp, I would say go build a product, go build and launch something,
Hmm.
get value, get some valuable experience. And I think companies can look past the college degree. But you have to like, I know a bachelor's degree becomes a requirement for some of these jobs. That's kind of how I've seen. But I'm sure there are companies out there who can look past, so try to go for smaller companies, startups, where if you have good experience, your educational background can be looked past.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so I wanted, I mean, to also give an opportunity for you to talk about your, I mean, I know you have the product career page, what you do. I think you can go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So well, product career page, try to share, all of the knowledge around product management, all the best practices. I also share a lot of leadership oriented videos and, content. So just if you go onto my profile, you'll find all the links through the bio. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect with you. But yeah, if you have any other questions, feel free to send me a DM.
Yes, yes. So thanks everyone for joining. I know thanks for, I mean, you shared so so much. In case you have any questions about transition, because I see more questions around that. I'm going to save this video, also share it with you. Go watch the video. I mean, at the beginning, we talked about transitioning and everything that you need to do. My name is Ayo. I share interview and career tips. I also share like responses to behavioral questions and things to just, make you shine and get recognized at work. Don't forget to follow me, and then that's Tips and Joy, and also Product Career as well. Thank you so much for taking your time. I think we need a part two because there's so so many questions about this, but it's good to hear from you. My only question from you now is, how can you join a big tech company? I mean, how can you become a product manager in like Silicon Valley or a big tech company? I think that's my last question.
So, yeah, so for that, I would say, so big tech companies have a very set pattern of how they interview. So I would say the step to breaking into a big tech is finding out their interview kind of the style that they have. Like for
Hmm.
example, I'll give you Facebook. If you once your resume gets picked, they
Yeah.
will have you sit on some of their interview sessions to just kind of see, like they have all these sessions to kind of show you what type of things you can expect from their interview. There's a bunch of different resources they have put out um, for their interviewing, what they expect in the interviews. The step one to breaking into those companies is understanding how you're going to crack the interviews, and to
Hmm.
cracking them is knowing what to prepare for. So
Okay.
understand the pattern, the style, the how Amazon interviews or how Facebook interviews. You can go network with product managers within the company,
Okay.
and they can probably share a lot of resources for you to as well, kind of their internal resources as well, probably.
Okay.
So
Is
yeah.
there a product management course?
There are a bunch of product manager courses.
Oh,
Even I
what's the
have one.
okay? Yeah. Or
Yeah.
what? Because I know like PMP for project management, but for product management, what's like the most recognized one, or like the ones you see on job descriptions? Yes.
So yeah, there is unfortunately not. I have not seen, like PMP is like you'll see a requirement in the job description. For
Yeah.
product managers, there's not a course like a certification that they'll request. I
Okay.
have not seen until today. I've not seen a single requirement job description that says this is the PM course that you need to have.
Okay.
So But the courses that are out there, those courses teach you kind of how to do the job. There are some good courses out there. So if you, but there's not a certification like PMP
Okay.
and things like that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right then. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for
All right.
having me.
Bye. Yeah. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.